Hello, this is Rick Osmond for Invest Comics TV, joined today by two fine gentlemen, Darren Davis and Jaymes Reed, here to talk about a new series that Jaymes is writing and Darren is publishing. And it's called Comics, of all things. Comic books called Comics. Isn't it amazing? Jaymes, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay. Well, I guess I couldn't come up with a better name. I mean, once you realize what it is. I guess to start off, I didn't really prepare with what I'd say about how to announce it or practice myself or anything. So I guess the best way to describe it would be to say, I started lettering for Blue Water a little over 2 years ago. I'm not sure, it's been a while. I've so far submitted 2 ideas to him that were, that weren't going to happen. The first one we agreed together that it was pretty much like something he already did. And, so we scrapped that. It was a good idea, just not, the place or time for it. And then we did another, I think we were trying to get a licensed, miniseries together. But a movie studio or someone wasn't, playing ball, or we couldn't find out who had the rights or whatever, so that got put back. So then I was just kind of didn't really think much about it, and then my mom died, and I was kind of bummed out and looking for an outlet, and trying to figure out a way to deal with it. And whenever me and my mom were sad, we always watched television, or, went to, watch something funny, went to the movies, whatever, and we to get a laugh, because laughter is the best medicine. And, I truly believe that. And these times that we live in, laughter is imperative.
Yeah.
And, so I figured, okay. And I was a letterer in a lot of his biography series as these thoughts were forming, and including Female Force and most notably Fame, because I letter a lot of those. And so I just put 2 and 2 together and said, Darren's not doing a series that I want to buy here. I mean, he's doing some pretty good series here, but there's nothing here that
they're not for everyone.
No, well, I'm not knocking them, don't get me wrong.
No, I know.
I was saying that if I was to write a series, Darren's not doing the one I would write. And I thought, here's what I'll do then. I thought, stand-up comics, sitcom stars, comedians in general. Anyone that's made a huge impact on popular culture in America. It doesn't have to be an American, though, anyone. And so I thought, well, let's do a biography series about these people, and we'll call it Comics.
There you go.
I didn't really spend much time on that one.
So obviously, Darren thought the idea was something that would sell. So, Darren, what's your stand on this? I know that you've already got a couple of indicators up on your website about it, on the June release page. And, of course, the list of potentials is endless, basically. Although
it's totally endless. The cool thing about it is that we can take it from all different types of genre of comedians, as he said, like from sitcoms to stand-up comedians to, the first one, which is George Carlin. This is totally endless. And so we really want to, showcase the comedian. And so that has many different meanings to different people. And so just as I was on here, I just got an email that I'll forward over to Jaymes about somebody that just heard about the comic series and wants to write for it already. So there is really it seriously just happened 2 minutes ago. So, but it's a really neat thing, because I think a lot of our biographies have a tendency to skew female. Like we have the Female Force line, which is about female empowerment. We have the Fame series, which is kind of that teeny bopper kind of thing. We have Political Power, which skews a little more male. But then this one really kind of fit into, kind of like what we wanted the series to be and avoid. And so that's why as soon as he mentioned it, I was like, yeah, go for it.
Cool.
And wait till you guys see the art on it. The art is amazing. The storytelling is really cool. The art really is amazing. He's got some really great artists doing these.
Great. So, Jaymes, I've seen the script for Carlin, because you were kind enough to give me an exclusive view of it. I haven't seen all the artwork. But the other thing I got to say is it's concise, but it's generally pretty comprehensive, as much as you can get into 24 pages. Has that been a challenge?
Oh yeah, that was a challenge. Man lived 72 years. And since y'all already said his name, and I didn't say it yet, George Carlin, my hero, is the first subject of comics. No, that's all right. George Carlin. He's a hero of mine and many of my friends. He was, just amazing. I mean, all my life he was there doing something somewhere, and making a difference and waking people up and doing all those kind of things. And he was real important to a lot of people, and myself included. I had a wonderful dad, but my dad never taught me the things George Carlin taught me. And
7 really cool things that he teach you.
Well,
did he teach you 7 cool things?
He taught me 7 cool things back in the 70s. And my mom found 7 different brands of soap. So yeah, but he taught me about looking beyond the veil, looking beyond what you're told, especially in the media. Big business, golfing. I mean, just a lot of things that brought a lot of things to light, such as the homeless problem in America. So he was a social critic more than than a comedian. I mean,
right.
Like Ed Wynn said, a comedian says things, funny things, and a comic says things funny. And George Carlin said things funny. I mean, but what he said was true.
Yep.
And so I wanted to highlight that because I figured the first issue is just like when you meet someone, you're going to make a first impression. So I wanted my first impression to be George Carlin. And
well, let's come back to that right after this little break. Here's a riddle for you. What do the California gold rush of the 1850s, secret societies, coded messages, mysterious 19th century flying machines, and an early 20th century outside artist named Charles A.A. Delshaw all have in common? The Secrets of Delshaw by Dennis Crenshaw and Pete Navarro. Go to www.secretsofdelshaw.com to learn more. All right, and we're back here on Invest Comics TV. I'm Rick Osmond, and I'm here with Jaymes Reed and Darren Davis. And Jaymes Reed has digitalcaps.com, and Darren, of course, is a publisher for Blue Water Comics. Now, Jaymes has created and is writing a new series called Comics about stand-up comedians, sitcom comedians, anybody who can strike your funny bone. And Darren's actually printing, distributing, and all that stuff. So, Darren, let's start with you. What's the availability of this book, and how can people get it now, in the future, and on a continuing basis?
One of the reasons why we started this is to bring new readers into comic book stores. So that's pretty much the primary place where I want people to really go in, is to go into their local comic book store. And you can go to comicshoplocator.com to find one near you. And, you can pre-order it there. If your comic book store won't pre-order it, which we've had some people do, it's also available on Amazon, which we put a lot of our biographies up on there. It will also, we just found out today that it's going to be in Barnes & Noble in the comic book section there, and there might be a couple other places where it'll be picked up as well. But for the most part, if you want a subscription to the comic series or any of the ones that we do, Things from Another World, which is tfa.com, can also do a subscription service for you. But most comic book stores should be able to do a subscription for you if you want.
Excellent. All right, so I know that there are a whole bunch of different comedians or biographies that are possible within this series, because there's just a whole raft of funny people. And Jaymes, I know you put a lot of thought into it, and I know that you've kicked around a couple dozen names that I'm aware of, and you probably have a few more on your own personal list. How many books are ready to go to print, and how many are in the works?
Well, 2 are ready to go to print. If the printer's patient, there's some work being done on them. I'm a perfectionist on this stuff, and I send stuff back sometimes if someone doesn't, and I've got other eyes over my shoulder sometimes looking at them going, hey, that don't look right, and then I have to get that fixed. So, that kind of stuff takes time, but I mean, it's a slow process. If you want to do it right, and I'm doing this series right way, and then quality is going to be the number one thing. But as far as going to print, I mean, we can send 2 to print right now. It's going to be bi-monthly at the moment. So we're looking at least 4 more issues through the rest of the year. Well, 4 issues through the rest of the year, including Carlin. And then, like Darren said, others were involved in interested in writing or helping out with the series. And, if somebody good comes along that wants to, put out some quality stuff, then we could bump it to monthly, and then that wouldn't be a problem either. Because, this isn't about me trying to write about, people that, just trying to tell my stories. I mean, I'm not selfish, bring it on. If somebody's got something worthy, bring it. Yeah.
One of the things that we talked about before, we signed on to do the project and everything is to make sure that the books are done in advance. So, we can also send out review copies. So also, the one thing that kills people in comic books is late books. And so that's one of the most important things for us is to make sure that the books are not late. And we want to keep the fans excited about the series and not have to wait 6 months for the second issue to come out.
Sure.
Definitely.
Makes perfect sense to me. I'm kind of impatient with regards to that stuff myself. You can ask my wife. I'm probably the most patient person on the planet, except when it comes to stuff like that. So,
you should see me here. I'm like, we get our books. We have to solicit stuff maybe like 4 to 6 months in advance. We just started doing our September titles, and I just sit there and I'm like all excited, going, "Oh my god, I can't wait for this comic to come out because But then it takes 6 months for it to come out. So, like this book right here, which we decided to do like a while ago, and, now it's coming out in a couple weeks, and we're like excited about all this stuff, so.
Sure, understood.
The Royals.
Well, so you published it ahead of the wedding, is that?
Yeah, we're publishing this one. This is actually a book that James lettered to, and we just got it to print today, and it was on the Today Show this weekend. It's a biography on Will and Kate, and about their lives. And so, the one thing that's really cool you did letter this, and you got me the last page a couple days ago. And the cool thing about the biographies in general, I never thought I'd have my career doing biography comic books, but they seem to be doing like really well. Not only are, comic book fans liking them, but schools and libraries are really picking them up. And, as James said, these are only 22-page comics or 24-page comics. So you're going to get information, but you might not get the exact information. So, but what we're trying to do is we're trying to get people to talk. And, I got into a fight with somebody because we're doing a Laura Ingraham comic book. And they thought I was, like, ridiculous for doing it and blah, blah, blah. And you know what? We did our point. People are talking about the comics. And, people are talking about the subjects. Yeah. And then we hope that maybe one day they'll go, if we're doing a Sarah Palin comic and somebody reads it and they like her, maybe they'll go pick up her book, or a book about Sarah Palin. So,
or
it's all about getting people to read.
Publish a parody reply in some cases.
Totally, and that's fine too. Yeah, go for it. It's getting people away from playing video games and reading,
Yeah.
That's my whole thing.
I certainly encourage that. My wife and I were discussing that earlier. She said something about cooking something. I said, let me film it. She said, why? And I said, because people don't read, not even cookbooks.
And we just got into Walmart's too.
Cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, the idea, though, what Darren's point is that by doing the biography comics, you're reaching people who may not otherwise read comics. I mean, not everyone reads Batman and Superman and Spider-Man and Umbrella City or Sin City or whatever that stuff's called that Dark Horse does. It's a variety, and so, someone who may not read George Carlin may read about the royal family, and, I know that whoever's going to read George Carlin may not read about the royal family, and vice versa. I mean, that's just the way it is. So you're offering a variety to all the different...
Which one's more informative? I'd have to go with Carlin.
I'm a big Carlin fan. I don't know much about. I watched the Royal Wedding when I was a kid. I mean, I'm a big Princess Diana fan. I love her.
Yeah.
But and I did let her book too. So yeah,
there you go.
So we've got a lot of variety coming, and as far as the comic series goes. George Carlin's not the only one. I mean, there's other ones coming up. I've got a list here that I can't actually divulge of the first few issues that are set in stone. But I mean, we've got we've got a possibles list that's a mile long. I mean, anybody can suggest something, just shoot the names out there, and they're probably on my list already. I mean, I had names on here that Darren was like, who? So, I mean, you know.
Let me ask Rick a question. Who would you want to see
Let's go
in
to
a perfect
break.
world?
As soon as we come back,
Okay.
we'll continue that thought.